Hi everyone, and welcome to this video on how to create and use a task manager in Notion. So here, this is my Notion page on a template task manager. So I've already created this and this is available as a template which can be duplicated. So let's get into this and see how we can use this to manage our tasks. So first I'll describe how this task manager works and then we'll get into how you can create one for yourself using Notion. So this task manager has four different sections. There's one for where you want to keep your tasks. There's one for where you're going to use these tasks to plan your everyday. There's one for keeping up your long-term goals. And there's one for important dates, right? So let's first get into the task itself. So if we click on this page, that opens up our task manager. So this is a database where we can store all our different tasks. So it has been arranged to look like this, where there are multiple different columns where we can enter different data for every single task. So for example, if we want to create a new task, you have to click on the new option and then a different row pops up. So you're able to put in a task. Like for example, today you want to work on singing. Okay. So already there'll be multiple categories that are part of this template task manager, but you can create your own categories and you can delete the previous categories that are there in this template. So right, for example, this belongs to the singing category. So we can choose that here. And for every task that I enter into this task manager, I like to assign a priority. So the way I assign priorities is by using P1, P2, P3 and elective. So priority 1 or P1 would be a task which requires immediate attention, like today itself. P2 or priority 2 is a task that can take some more time. P3 or priority 3 is a task which can happen maybe over the next week or over the next 2 weeks. An elective task has absolutely no urgency to it, can be done whenever needed. Followed by there's two other columns. One is for whether the task has been completed. If you click on a task and it has been completed, then it will just disappear from the task manager. Okay, so we can just bring it back by undoing that. And if we want to work on a task today, we should click on the today button. So it will show up on our today's tasks. We'll come to what is add to goals a little bit later. So let's add a few tasks to our task manager and see what we can do further with it. Okay, so I've entered a few sample tasks that we can see over here. Okay, and I've also entered the different categories and the priorities for these tasks. So let's see what further we can do with this task manager. First of all, if there is probably going to be a certain point in time where you have a lot of tasks. Okay, so I currently have around 38 to 40. And so you can keep a track of how many tasks you have by going down here and clicking on count all. So it tells you how many tasks are there in your task manager currently. Okay. So currently in this table view, you're able to see everything and make sense of it. But once it gets to 20, 30 or 40 tasks, it can get a little bit complicated looking. So that is why there's another view here, the priority view, which arranges your tasks by the different priorities and keeps everything clean and minimal looking. Okay, so the first column is the priority 1 column, which is the task you want to do as quickly as possible or are quite urgent. Then there are the P2 tasks, the P3 tasks, and the elective tasks. So what I usually do is I just keep the table to enter the new tasks, enter the name, the category, and the priority, and then I come into the priority view every morning and pick out the task I want to work on, particularly today. For example, in this priority view, I want to work on all the P1 tasks today. Okay, maybe I don't want to wash clothes. Maybe I want to buy a new bed. Maybe I want to work on singing, right? So then these tasks are the ones that's available today. And then I can click on today's tasks and then just these tasks will show up in this today's task table. So we'll see what we can do with this once we go to our daily planner. So that is the task manager and how it can be utilized to figure out what are the different tasks you want to work on today and to keep a track of all your different tasks. Okay, so next let's see how we can use this to plan our day. So here the second part of the template task manager is a daily planner. And in the daily planner, there is a template already created to use for a daily basis. So this is the template that I use, but the same template can be modified by you however you want it to be. And then you can also use this template for a daily use. So in this template, there's a morning routine and there's an evening routine that I have. And then there's a separate area for today's tasks. And then there's this planner for the day with every single hour mentioned. I usually wake up at 6, so that's when it starts, and then for every hour I have a different time block up till about midnight. So what we can do in this daily planner is, for every day we want to plan out, we just click here on these 6 dots and then on duplicate, and then it creates a duplicate template. Then we can go in and rename it according to today's date, and then we have a planner for today. Okay, then again on the next day tomorrow we can go in and duplicate it and move it below the current date, and then we can have the same template for the next day. Right, so what I usually do is, after I've made the template, I tick off whatever I have already finished off in my morning routine. Then I go into the tasks, into today's tasks, and select all the tasks that I have for today. And then go back into my daily planner and then insert them into today's tasks. After that, I convert them into a to-do list that I can tick off at the end of the day when it's over. So after that, I use this area to fill up today's daily planner. So for example, in the daily planner, the first thing I do is fill in all the different time blocks that are already occupied. If I know I'm working on something, like I have work from 9 up till 4 o'clock, so I will already go in and I will fill this area first, and I know I want to go to the gym after that, so I'll also fill that area. So I know that these areas are these time blocks are already occupied and I cannot do any other tasks during this time. So then I know that what are the different times which are free, and we can put in other things there. So you can choose in whatever order you want to put them in, but I'll just enter them in the same order. Right, so we would like to turn in reports, but usually that will happen at work. So I'll just put that as a secondary task somewhere else. Okay, maybe for after the gym, I want to keep some time free, and then I want to work on singing for about 2 hours. And then maybe in this free time, I can go in and buy that bed. Okay, so this is how, based on the task manager that we saw previously, I will use those tasks and fill out this daily planner every day to figure out what I want to do during the day. Okay, so next let's look at the goals page. So here, okay, so this is a completely optional setup that you can use to visually plan out your week and your days. So it's completely up to you if you wish to use this or not, but I feel like it's very useful to figure out what you wish to work on in a particular week or on a particular day. So if you wish to use this, how we use this is we go back to our task manager, and the tasks that we want to work on long term, that are basically our goals. Okay, so we can go in and add them to the goals section. Okay, so once we do that, so once you click on the add them to the goals section and come back to this goals page, you can see that all those different tasks have been added to this goals table. So once they're added here, they are first added to the no assign week column. So there's no week which has been assigned to them. Following this, you can figure out as to when you want to work on them in this table. So maybe there are some tasks you want to work on only in the near future. So you can drag them to that column. Okay, and then maybe there are some tasks you want to work particularly on this week. And maybe there's a task you want to work on next week. Okay, now once that is done, you will see that the tasks you want to work on this week will come in our second table here. Okay, they'll show up in the assigned day table. So when you enter them into this week, they'll first show up in the no assigned day column. Once you have them here, you can see that your entire day is this. All your days are displayed here, Monday, Tuesday up till Sunday, and from here you could figure out on what day you want to work on these tasks. Okay, for example, you want to work on this task on Monday, on this task on Thursday, on this task on Saturday. So it's just a nice visual way to sort out your task and know what you want to be working on in a particular week or on a particular day. Completely optional, up to you if you want to use it. So the last section in this template task manager is the important date section. So this is a section which is completely separate from the other sections, and I just use it to keep a track of the different important dates. So it's a completely empty calendar and it has no relation to the task manager. So what I do is, if there are some very important events that are happening, like there's a report submission that has to happen on a particular date, I just come into the important dates calendar and enter it on that particular date. So this allows me to keep track of the different tasks that have to be done on one particular date, but only for the important tasks. Right? So before I go in and sort out my tasks for every day, I usually go into the important dates calendar and see if any important events have to happen on that day or in the near future before I go in and figure out what tasks I want to work on. Okay, so how can you get this template? So I've already provided a link to get this template task manager. So if you click on that link, okay, so it will open up this template task manager on your website. So from here, you just go to the duplicate link over here, and then will allow you to duplicate it to your own workspace. For that, you should have already logged into Notion. Right, so that was all on how to use that template task manager. If you are somebody who wishes to use the same task manager that I've already made, you can just duplicate that template and just use it for yourself. The rest of the video is for those people who want to learn how to make that task manager so they can customize it and suit it to their own requirements. So let's get in on how to do that. So first, we'll create a new page in Notion. So that can easily be done by going into this area and just clicking on add a page. After that, so this is a new page which is completely blank and empty. So it is Notion is a very simple and easy software to use, so nothing to worry about. Just you can label this task manager as whatever you want. Let's label this as Chirag's task manager template. Okay, then into this we'll add our 4 different sections. So these are nothing but pages. To create a page, just type a /, and then there are all these different basic blocks that Notion allows you to create. So what we need is a page. So all you have to do is type page and then click on enter, then a new page opens. So the first page that we have to create is a task page. Then we go back and then we make our other pages as well. So we have the daily planner. We have the goals section. And then we have the important date section. Okay, so we can easily add some flair to this by giving it icons and colors. And we can also space these out. You can take empty blocks over here and put them in between. You can even space them out with dividers. So just click on / and divider. So it'll be like this line which spaces out these different pages. The same thing can be done for all the different pages here. Okay, so you can do that yourself if you wish to. Next, let's see how we can work on this task manager. So the first page itself is a task page. So we'll enter this, and this is currently an empty page. So we click on the empty page icon over here and create a database first. Okay, an inline database, and we can label this as the task manager. Okay, so it's starting to resemble the task manager that we had seen previously, but there are some changes that we have to make, right? So in this task manager, we leave the name section as it is. So that is where you would enter the task. Tags section, we'll rename this to category. Okay, but this continues to be a multi-select type of column where we go in and then we have to create our different categories like work, personal, etc. can be created in this multi-select option. Next, we will add another column which also has to be a multi-select for priority. Okay, and then we can create a priority categories like P1, P2, P3, and elective. We can label these with whatever colors we want to. Usually I keep P1 as red, P2 as yellow, and P3 is green. The elective is gray, right? So that's for the priority section. Next, we have to create two columns for the checkboxes. So first is whether it is done. The second is whether we want to work on it today. Okay, so let's slightly just adjust these. Okay, so now into this basic task manager, we can enter the task we want to work on and choose the category and even the priority. Okay, now in that template task manager that we saw previously, if we clicked on done, it would disappear. But here, that is not happening. This is because we have to go in and create a filter for the done check, and it should be unchecked. Okay, so once you do that, now if you click on the done section, the task will disappear from the task manager. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is create our priority view. So we go next to this table section, click on this plus icon, and now we have a new view. So we'll name this the priority view, and instead of a table, we'll go for a board. And the board should be grouped by priority. Okay, we can add some flair if we want to here by choosing color columns, right? So already, and we can choose to hide the tasks which don't have a priority over here. Okay, so this is now our priority view. We can also further add some formatting by choosing to have a small card size, so all of it can fit easily into this view. The next thing is getting in a today's task table. Okay, so we'll key this as the table. And in this view, we want to hide everything. But remember, it is supposed to show only the tasks you want to work on today. So we have to go in and create a filter for today, which should be checked. Okay, now we come back to the priority view. We have to also remember to add other properties into this view. So we should be able to see what category that task belongs to. And usually in this priority view is where I click on my tasks if they have been done. So I also like to add this done checklist and then the today checkbox. So now for every task in this priority view, we can choose on whether we want to work on today or whether it is done. Okay, so once we click on today, now it will show up in the task manager for today. We can hide this title over here. Okay, another important thing to remember is that once you click on done, it should disappear from here. So that same filter that we made for the table, we have to also create for these other views as well. Okay, so it's as simple as that. That's a task manager that I had shown previously. Now let's work on making our daily planner. So it's very simple and straightforward. All we're going to do is make a template that we can use for daily. We can just duplicate it and use it on a daily basis. So again, we go in, make a page, and this is going to be our template page. Right, so first thing that I usually have is the morning and the evening routines up there. So this is the morning routine. We can make this into a heading. And then we have the evening routine. Okay, and then if you drag it from here to the end of the same morning routine line, they become as 2 columns. Right, so then you can create a to-do list in the morning routine, like however you want to. And also in the evening routine also. Right, next part is the today's task section. So just label this as a heading, and then finally the table. So all you have to do is put a forward slash and create a table. We would like to give it 3 columns and make this into a header row where we have our time blocks, primary task, and the secondary task. Okay, then we can make our time blocks and assign whatever task we want to. So that is a template for the daily planner. Now, how to create the goal section? It is basically going to be using the same task manager that we have created in this task section. Right, so this goals page, first we go in here, we create an empty page, and then all we have to do is link to that database of the task manager that we have already made. So to do that, just type a forward slash, click and type in linked. So it allows you to create a linked view of a database, right? And then you go in and click on your task manager, right? So now this is going to be a new view that we want to create, and we label this view as assign week. Okay, and it has to be a bold. We would like to keep the card size small, right? So that is all for now. Now we have to go back to our task manager and create 2 more columns. Actually 3 more columns, sorry. So the first one would be a check that allows us to add it to the goal section. And next would be a multi-select labeled as assign week, and another multi-select labeled as assign day. Alright, so in assign week, we'll create those three categories that we had seen before. This week, next week, and near future. And in the assign day, we'll create our day categories like Monday, up till Sunday. Right, so once we have done that, we can just choose to hide this in this view. Go click on this property and click on hide in view, and it will not show up in this view. We just want to see these different columns in this view. Now we go back to our goals section, and in this table we want to be able to group it now by assign week. Okay, and these can be moved around to resemble the previous goals table. Okay, so now we have it here. Okay, but remember that all tasks will still show up here. So you have to create a filter which lets you only pick out the tasks that you have added to the goal section. Right, so that is the goals table. Now we have to create another linked view for assign day. That's basically the same idea almost. Get a board, group it instead by assign day, and there has to be a filter where it has been added to goals, and another filter for it has been assigned the week already for this week. Okay, so you can move this around to sort this out. Before you do that, remember to always have small card sizes so everything fits close together. Okay, and always keep the no assign day in the beginning. So that's how you create the goals page. So the last page is just the important date section. Here, just go in, create a calendar view, and create a new database, and you can label it whatever you want, like important dates calendar. And that is all. So that's how you can create this task manager for yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be adding the links to download Notion and the template as well in the information section below this video.